So I wanted to highlight, this is just yesterday that Steve Kerr basically gave a speech at the DNC. And wanted to point out one of the things that's significant with this is oftentimes you have people on the right and they have this idea that those on the right are the real men, that they're more manly, they're more athletic, they're tough, they're more competent. I think that Steve Kerr, people like Steve Kerr and LeBron James, I think they do a good job of countering this narrative. Think of Steve Kerr. He was part of the Chicago Bulls in the 90s when they were so dominant with Michael Jordan. He's the coach of Golden State Warriors, as they've been extremely dominant over the years. And he was the coach of the Team USA basketball group that just won another gold medal. Okay, so a few things that he said. Here, he said, after the results are tallied that night, we can, in the words of the great Steph Curry, can tell Donald Trump night night. So he's talking about when Steph Curry, basically after he hit some threes, he indicated he'd put the French team to sleep. Okay, and then it highlights a few other things that Kerr said. The reason I said yes to speaking here tonight, so that as a coach and former player, as a husband, a son, father, even a grandfather, and as an American, I believe in a certain kind of leadership. I believe leaders must tell the truth. They must be able to laugh at themselves. Ask yourself, does Trump ever laugh at himself? Does he tell the truth? Okay, I believe leaders must possess knowledge and expertise. Does Trump have a lot of knowledge and expertise when it comes to history, policy, things like separation of branches, separation of powers? With the full awareness that none of us has all the answers, Trump will never admit something like that. He'll indicate that he has all the answers, that he alone can save us. Okay, it says if you look for those qualities in your friends or your boss or employer, your child's teacher, or your mayor, shouldn't you want those same qualities in your president? When you think about it this way, it's no contest. Yeah, that's a good point. So some of the things that Steve Kerr says in his speech are very damning against Trump. Okay, he said that he can already see the shut up and whistle tweets, referring to when LeBron James had made some, when he'd, I think, come out politically on social media, made some statements before people were saying, shut up and dribble. I want to ask the question, though, what makes someone like Sean Hannity or someone working for Fox more qualified to share their opinion concerning politics as opposed to someone like Steve Kerr or LeBron James? Are they more qualified? Do they have greater rights? And you have a lot of, and this isn't to be disparaging to these people, but you have a lot of people on the right, construction workers, plumbers, whoever, that they are very vocal on Facebook. They're very vocal sometimes politically. Do they have some kind of knowledge or expertise that is above the comprehension of someone like Steve Kerr or LeBron James? Okay, I switched around the article. So this is a New York Times article, but I was just looking at a few things and thinking more about it. Wanted to highlight as well, when the Golden State Warriors won an NBA championship one of the years, they just refused to go to the White House. And you had LeBron James tweeting out against Trump, calling him a bum. And so it's just interesting, seeing a lot of the idea that people have on the right that they're the real men. But then you have these very successful, competent coaches or athletes who are not, they're not down with Trump, not down with the right wing. Right here, I wanted to highlight this part. So it said coach to coach, that guy's awesome. Mr. Kerr, so Steve Kerr's talking about Walls. So just think about kind of this different contrast. You have these very normal, likable coaches, and sometimes you have on the right, they try to paint the left as if it's, every single person is this radical. They're just out of control on social issues and economic issues. And you have these, again, normal, successful people that are left-leaning. The caricature that the right tries to paint, people like Steve Kerr and Tim Walz, they do a good job of basically breaking that down and showing that that narrative is ridiculous and that it's not founded in reality. But again, speech by Steve Kerr's damning with Trump. Things are not looking good for Trump in the moment. He seems to be flailing. He's putting his foot in his mouth, making weird comments about Kamala Harris identifying as Indian before black. making weird Medal of Honor comments, lashing out at Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, even though he's a popular Republican governor. When Trump goes to visit Georgia, he's lashing out. Trump seems to just be scrambling, and it seems like momentum has completely shifted since Biden has dropped out. Steve Kerr is part of that. This may be viewed as a historical speech in the future, and we might see with LeBron James, Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, and you could say Bill Russell really was someone that kind of set this trend. We might see athletes being more vocal in the future than they have in the past. As Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan were not that vocal in the past.